It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
And welcome back to The Busy Fan. We've got a lot of news to catch you up on. There's been a ton of exciting things that have happened in the NBA. Wild games, craziness. We're going to catch you up, let you know what's going on, what the new matchups are, and who we favor in those matchups. But first, let's start with today. So today is, Wednesday? So the Rockets and Thunder played, as well as the Heat and Bucks. And so I just came like 5 minutes ago. The Rockets and Thunder just finished. Crazy game, super exciting. Like there was the theme of the day was refs trying to do too much, and I absolutely hate that. I think every sports fan, that's their least favorite thing is when the refs try to like step in and do too much. Now in both games today, I think that the teams that deserved to win, not necessarily who I was rooting for, but the teams that deserved to win still did end up winning. But it was very frustrating seeing the refs have their hands on too many things, and there was like so many replays, and like the game was so slow at the end of the Rockets Thunder game today. But it is what it is. I hate refs. I will continue to bash on the refs when they do wrong because the NBA doesn't pay my salary. They don't sponsor me or anything. As soon as they do, I'll switch the tune. But for now, it's just gonna be real. In the Thunder Rockets game, James Harden had a really off night. He ended up having a huge block at the end of the game that basically held on and made them win the game, which is crazy because he's definitely not known for his defense. It's usually all offense for him today, but he didn't have it going on the offense. It came up with that clutch play at the end, so we got to give some credit to him there. People that stepped up in his place. Let's see, we had Russell Westbrook had 20. He didn't have a great shooting night either, though. He was kind of out. It's kind of Russell Westbrook. He gets out of control a lot, and so we saw a lot of that in this game, but still had 20. Eric Gordon had 21. James Harden ended with 17, and Covington had 21. Now, that is the theme of this playoffs. That's the biggest thing that like I've learned and that I think people should take away from these playoffs is having just the best player on the court isn't going to do it in a 7-game series because they're not going to always have their best games. It's the teams that can go to the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th guy down and get productive points or minutes or whatever they need from those people who are doing really successful in the playoffs so far. So Houston hasn't been about that really, except for today they definitely needed it. And without Westbrook, the first parts of this series, they struggled and they needed more of that support, but it was definitely Harden carrying for the most part. And so I think if I'm a Rockets fan, I'm really pleased, I guess. I'm not pleased that Harden had a bad game, but I'm pleased that everyone else stepped up and did enough to get the win. So they'll move on and they'll face the Lakers going forward. The Lakers are one of those teams that they actually are pretty deep, in my opinion. Most people were talking about, they're comparing them to the Clippers, and that was the thing before the season was like, it was going to be Lakers or Clippers. And most people, well, I don't know about most people, a lot of people decided to go with the Clippers because of their depth. But I think in this year where like some people just aren't playing because of like social justice issues, some people are injured, some people have COVID concerns, that's all off the table. Like I feel like nobody is that deep anymore. So I think the Lakers are relatively deep compared to their competition right now. I think that'll give them a good advantage against the Rockets going into that series. So I'd say favor the Lakers primarily for that reason. They are the 1 seed. So, but seeding means nothing, as we learned from the East today. So the Bucks, they lost to the Heat tonight. They're now down 2-0. Now, if you are an avid follower, you know that we predicted the Heat to ending up winning this series and pulling it off. I don't know if I thought they would go up 2-0, but same thing. I think the Bucks aren't deep enough. I don't think they have the bench to make it very far. They showed that against the Magic. They only lost 1 game, but that was basically the story of that 1 game. And when you have so many games back to back like this, you can't expect your best players to show up every game. Sometimes they're just going to have off games. Giannis usually doesn't have an off game. He's money most of the time, but he can't do it by himself. Even when he is money and he has turned it on and everything, it's not always enough. So the Heat won tonight, 116-114. The real story behind that, though, is there was, the Heat were up by 3 points. So it was 114-111 with like 7 seconds left. The Bucks have the ball. They get it into Middleton, who goes up for this three, and they call a shooting foul on Dragic. And so Middleton gets 3 shots, makes them all, ties it up. Absolutely crazy. It was like an awful call. Like, I don't know what to say. Dragic just like sat there and tried to like stay straight and everything. They were saying like he may have leaned forward a little bit, but Middleton shot it running forward. Like, you have to allow them space to land, but not like 4 feet. If someone launches themselves going forward, it was a terrible call. Definitely should not have happened. And so then it's all tied up with 4 seconds left. They get it into Jimmy Butler, who goes for a step back 3, misses it. We're going into overtime. Oh, wait, hold on. We called a foul. We're going to have Butler shoot free throws with 0 seconds on the clock. He goes, makes his first one. Game over. They made a second one too, but game over after that first one. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, that one was a little more reasonable. Like, I could see that maybe Giannis ran through him and like didn't completely allow him to land. The reality is, I would never get called at the end of a game like this, like in that situation, except for the refs knew that they just messed up the call before. And so then they gave this to say, all right, you guys can win because we just want you to know we have the power and we control this, but you guys did deserve the win, so we'll go ahead and give it to you. It was stupid. Like, the refs suck. Yesterday, so to go over what happened yesterday, we had the Jazz and Nuggets Game 7. Crazy. Like, most of the time throughout that series, Murray and Donovan have been scoring like 40 to 50 points each. This game ended with the Nuggets winning 80-78. So super low scoring for what we had been seeing. Really cost me in DraftKings, man, because I thought both of those guys would have a good night, and they did not. But whatever. And so the Jazz are out. The Nuggets will move on, and they will face the Clippers tomorrow. Here's the first game of that series. I think the Clippers will win that series, but I think the Nuggets could win it if they just change their strategy. I think if they would just go to the 2-man game, at the end of the games against the Jazz, they just switched and they were like, all right, Murray, Jokic, you guys take over. Everyone else get out of their way. Just do a pick and roll thing, and then you guys do whatever you want. They just gave it to their 2 best players and let them do their thing, and they were absolutely dominating. But the first 3 quarters, they wouldn't do that. So if I was coaching them, and we did that more, I think they would have a good chance against the Clippers, because I think they are talented and playing really well right now. And the Clippers, I haven't been super impressed with throughout this series, but I think the Clippers will still win because I don't think the Nuggets will make those adjustments because they never did against the Jazz. So that's going on. Let's see. Also, yesterday there was that? Oh yeah. The Celtics Raptors. Yeah, this was another East matchup. Celtics are the 3 seed, I think, and the Raptors are the 2nd seed. The Celtics, they look like the best team in the East right now. They're just playing good against everyone. Against the 76ers, I didn't know if it was real or not because the 76ers sucked. But against the Raptors, I really think that they have their 3 stars clicking. They're doing everything together. Their bench is providing for the team and everything, and this was a pretty close game throughout, and but they were able to pull away and pull it off. Jason Tatum shot like 16 free throws. I know the Raptors coach wasn't happy with that after the game, but so that's kind of what's been going on in the NBA. Tomorrow we have, like I said, the Nuggets and Clippers and Raptors and Celtics playing. I don't know. I think Clippers will probably win this one. I think they'll definitely win this series. The Raptors don't seem to have an answer for the Celtics. So I got the Celtics tomorrow too. But that's what's going on in the NBA. We'll keep you up to date on everything and let you know what exciting stuff happens. And we hate the refs.